What's up, dudes? Welcome back to the mothership. Another beautiful fall day here, New England. Gonna be going down one of my favorite roads out here. It's actually even more fun in the dark, but I really wanted to get out after work here and go for a ride. And I thought maybe I'll talk a little bit about a conversation I had with one of the channel brothers, Tony, that I had the other night. So we were sitting around having a couple beers, and we were just kind of doing a what-if conversation. So the what-if in question this time around was, what if I had another bike to my collection? It's a little windy. Hopefully this sound isn't too bad here. But yeah, so what if? So, quick backstory. My first bike, the bike I learned to ride on, is this year Iron 883 that I got this year. So I've been riding just this bike for this year. And as you all know, this is a Sportster. It's a 900cc motor. It weighs about 560 wet, something like that. It's a really good starter bike in my opinion. It's not too much bike to scare you, but it's just enough bike to have a hell of a lot of fun. But what if I want to do something else? So I know I've put out a video on potential upgrades I want to do to this thing. But what if over the winter we went a different route? So let's talk about what some of those options might be. The first and obvious thought for a lot of people that have the 900 Sportster. If you like the Sportster, get a bigger Sportster. So that would be, you know, an Iron 1200 or a 48. And I really like, you know, pros and cons of both. I like front controls, so that would be nice on the 48. I don't really like the handlebars on the 48. I think I'd rather the taller bars that are on the 1200. You know, in a different video I talked about actually doing on this bike. So definitely would want the taller bars. So either one is going to require me to do some changes. The motors on those things are, you know, 1200. I don't know what the actual horsepower loadouts are, but on this bike I think it's like 51, so we might be looking at maybe 70 horsepower, something in that area. Yeah, and I like the tanks. I really like this peanut tank. You know, some people love it, some people hate it. The mileage isn't great, but it just feels so nice, and it looks great to me. But you know, there are some disadvantages. Number one is that motor. The motor's not huge. It's not the biggest motor the Harley makes. It goes plenty fast. It doesn't have a 6th gear, which, you know, just like this bike, doesn't have a 6th gear, so when you're on the highway, you're tapped out at 5th. They're light, which makes them super nimble, but it also makes them a little less wieldy on the highway as well when you got wind coming in. So those are reasons not to go for a 1200 bike. You know, if you wanted to move on from the street bikes, the next thing you'd be looking at would be the cruisers. And this was where it really gets interesting. So the bike that stands out the most to me, if I were to go in and you know, pick up another Harley, would probably be a Street Bob, honestly. I like the size of it. It's, you know, it looks almost like a Sportster. It's got that look to it. It's got the bigger bars, so that's nice. I still would have to put 4 controls on if I want to do that, but it's got a 107 engine too and a 6th gear, which makes it, you know, much more a highway capable bike. So yeah, like I said, that's actually kind of one of my top favorites. And just as a side note, I have not test ridden these things, so if I decide this is actually a path I want to go down, I will definitely be test driving, and I will be putting those things on the internet for you guys to see and to hear my thoughts on them. The next bike on the list would be the Fat Bob. Now the Fat Bob, yeah, it's a really nice bike, but it's a different bike, right? Oh, and actually one more thing I want to say about the Street Bob. One thing I really don't like about the Street Bob is the speedometer. I know people love that minimalistic look, but I think it looks actually kind of cheap. So that would probably be something I would change right away, is to put a normal Odo on it. But that's just me. Back to the Fat Bob. That front light, dude, is weird. I'm not sure how I feel about it, but that front light is really weird. I believe it has front controls, which is a plus. I think it is lower than some of the other bikes. I know the Street Bob is not as low as this bike. You know, from seating position, I think the Fat Bob is the same thing. But your feet are forward. And you've got that really big front wheel tire, which is kind of an aesthetic thing. You got to be into it, or you got to be really into it, I guess, if you want to buy that bike. And then there is the Lowrider S, which I'm pretty familiar with. As you guys have seen, my close friend and friend of the show, Tony, he has a Lowrider S. It's a monster. It's rocking that 114 motor. And other than that, I mean, it's expensive. That's another thought. So expensive. I don't really like the front fairing either. I guess that's kind of something I would really have to look at a bit more, but that's not really my cup of tea. But other than that, I mean, that bike rips. It's awesome. It's huge. It's great on the highway. So that's a quick down and dirty of the cruisers. And then, you could also look at the touring bikes. I don't really like the touring bikes as much. I like, like these nimble bikes a little bit more, which is why I'm probably looking more at the cruisers. But you could go with like the Heritage Classic, which the worst part about it is the amount of chrome. I'm not a big chrome guy. I used to have chrome on my trucks, and I've decided since then I really couldn't care for it. So, sorry, I think I'm getting a cold here. My voice is cracking like a 12-year-old. So yeah, a lot of chrome. It's also very expensive, but it would give you that platform to if you really wanted to make it into a highway capable monster, you can do that. You could put all the big fairings on it, turn it to electrical out if you want. So that is another option. So that's in the Harley world. Those are the bikes I'm looking at or thinking about. And I think I made it kind of clear. Top of my list is really that Street Bob. I really like that bike. I really want to get out and ride one. I think if I'm looking at a bike, that might be the one I end up with. But I'm not sold yet. There's a lot of bikes out there. Some of them are much more expensive than others. Some of them have pros and some do, or that others don't. Some of them have cons that the others don't. That's one thing, we were kind of talking about. How awesome would it be if Harley Davidson you could start on a platform and you could build your own online and pick all the pieces that you want, and they'd ship that bike to you. You call it like a Harley custom, like a custom 114, and you can do everything that you want. And we all know that that's never going to happen, because Harley makes a ton of money on right away you having to change parts. But I still think it'd be really cool. If I went outside the Harley world, the first bike that jumps to my mind, and the bike that I was seriously considering before this, is the Indian Scout. I really like the Bobber 60. There are, there's other Indian Scouts, and they all have some pros and cons. I haven't done as much research on the ones besides the Scout Bobber 60. I think some of them have bigger motors and different gearing, but it's definitely worth checking out those as well. I'm not married to the Harleys. I'm not married to any brand. I just really enjoy riding. And I hope that this isn't too horrible for you guys, because this is really bumpy right here. Which, if you're watching this and you're wondering why I'm riding on the right, basically right on the right turnoffs, because that looks even worse than what I'm on right now. But yeah, so I mean, what do you guys think? A lot of people are going to say, "Oh, you should get this because I own this." Well, what do you guys think? What are your pros and cons? What about bikes do you like? What about your bike don't you like? What about different bikes do you like? What do you wish your bike did differently? What do you think, guys? I mean, there's a hell of a lot of bikes out there, and I really value, and I'm really interested in everybody's opinion. So yeah, drop a comment below on if I said something wrong, if I said something stupid, if you agree with me, if you really think I should go in a certain direction, or if there's something I should check out. Let me know, guys. If you like this kind of content, I am putting together a whole bunch of more gear review type videos and how-to videos on both my bike and that Lowrider S, actually. So subscribe if you want to see some of this content before it just pops up on your searches. If you want to see it right as it comes up, hit subscribe, send me a like, and like I said, drop me a comment, guys. I'm really interested to hear what you guys have to say. So that's it, dudes. Ride safe.